Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Lobot Podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Josh.
And we are back at the Trap House. We are back at the Bachelor Pad. We are back at the...
Crackdown.
I was a bit out of order for that one.
A little bit.
Again, I'm running on very little sleep.
Tell the people.
I've been offered a new job at a full-time position.
Congrats, man.
And I'm very fucking excited. So I'm finishing up the last couple shifts at my old job. I could have left on the spot, but I don't want to burn my bridges.
Yep.
So I finished up I got out at like 4 a.m. last night. Didn't get to sleep till 5. I got here for 9 a.m.
Yeah, you got here at like 10 past 9.
Yeah.
So you've barely slept.
Yeah, I got up at like 8:20.
I'll admit, for someone that's barely slept, you actually look pretty good.
Thank you.
I would expect the intro to be utter trash. I was like, before we started, I was going to ask, do you want me to do it? But you seemed fine the moment you got here.
2 sips of the bean juice. You know your boy's clocked in.
And I had the pleasure of meeting your nan. She's lovely.
Yeah, my nan.
Nan, if you're watching this, you're lovely. And your food is delicious.
Thanks,
so,
Nan.
Thank you,
my Nan cooks us food a lot.
This episode proudly sponsored by your Nan.
Proudly sponsored by the Nan.
She keeps us going.
She does a lot of the time. Keeps us fed.
I just noticed, both of us have new jobs.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
A big change.
We're doing big boy things.
Absolutely. 2021, year of the change.
Let's
now,
go, man.
Adam, you're next.
Just change something.
Yeah.
Change something. I don't know.
New job.
New job, new diapers, whatever you want, my man.
Adam, you shit yourself. If so, that's fine. Love you, brother. But
I can't talk about that. I almost did that the other day. I think I told you about it, right?
no.
No, not about the experience I had where I almost shit myself recently.
KFC?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
you told me
KFC
last week. You said
disabled
the other day, so I'm
bathroom.
thinking like in the week between.
Bro, my timeline's all blurred. I've just been so busy, and you're going to be hella busy soon as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basketball. That's the
real life stuff done.
the intro back and forth. It's all done.
Because
basketball,
there's been a lot of basketball stuff
So
and a lot
much.
to talk about.
so much.
Yeah. Do we want to go over breaking news real quick and then go over some playoff
Well,
stuff?
you were looking at your phone just now, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't see that this morning."
The Orlando Magic
Oh, I did see that.
have entered rebuilding phase. They've
Yes.
parted ways with their 7-year coach,
I think
Steve
it's
Clifford.
7, 8 years.
Something like
yeah,
that.
Yep.
I think Steve Clifford's an all right coach. He's all right. He'll probably get a job elsewhere.
Probably as an assistant coach or something. Yeah.
And they also saw that Orlando were looking at Terry Stotts,
Yeah.
who, again, for those who don't know, a couple of days ago as of recording, parted ways with Portland as they had another first-round exit, which we'll get into a bit later. But Terry Stotts is a very good coach. Oh, no, he's a good coach.
I saw someone talk about Stotts. He's a solid B to B plus coach.
Yeah.
At best. But to get, to win a chip, obviously you're going to need someone in the A.
Yeah.
So, good coach, very good coach, not a great coach.
Not a great coach.
And when you've got a great, phenomenal player like Damian Lillard, you need a great coach.
Do we want to talk about another great coach that has left their position?
Yep.
Brad Stevens.
Yes.
Now, you want to talk about a great coach and a coach?
Yeah. I was going to talk about all of these as I go through the series. Because there's actually been
We'll
a
do
lot
that
of
then.
stuff.
We'll do that then.
I was going to get the most boring one out the way.
Yeah.
Wizards versus 76ers.
But your wish was granted.
One game.
Wizards took a game.
Washington took one game, and that's all I wanted, man.
Yeah.
We didn't see a phenomenal cliche Westbrook game.
No,
he played great, but there was no 20-20-20 game. I really would have liked to see that.
He did have like a
against Philly.
15, 11, 11, shooting like 6 of 20 from the floor. That's pretty Westbrook.
I mean, that's a classic Westbrook.
That's a classic.
I want that.
You want him to
that
turn up.
pinnacle Westbrook, yeah. And it's not going to happen against Philly. Philly are too good defensively.
Yeah.
They're, in my opinion, my favorite defensive team in the league just because they're big boys,
Yeah,
man.
they're big
It's
boys.
crazy. But they took game one. Philly's going on to the next round, which we'll talk about later. But that's the most boring one, obviously.
Yeah.
There was no way Washington were going to win that series.
Nah.
Probably one of my favorite series, which is now sadly ended. I would have liked it to see it have gone further games, was the Utah and Memphis series.
Yep.
That was very, very exciting because we got to see, much like Jason Tatum, Ja Morant prove that he is playoff ready.
Yeah.
And he can turn up in the playoffs.
That he
and
is polished. That
be
he is
that franchise player.
Yep.
And that was the most exciting thing about on the side of Memphis is Ja Morant's ready for it.
A great takeaway.
Yes.
Right? Memphis weren't going to win the chip this year.
No.
But if you're a fan of Memphis or if you're a fan of young players, Ja showed that he's real. Like, if you were unsure, even after everything that happened in the past couple years, like last year, he proved it now that he can lead this team.
There's always that statement that people say is Ja can't shoot threes or consistently for
And
that
he's
matter.
not a great shooter.
But this series, he's been so efficient. He's really just like, I don't care that I couldn't do it in the regular season.
Better.
Yep. Like there was one game, I'm pretty sure it went 4 from 5.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was in the first half. It was crazy.
And like, I'm on that side. If he's not a great 3-point shooter, it's something he'll get better at over time. But I think since his first year, he's gotten a lot better at picking his shots a bit better.
It does need improvement. Like, I don't understand the thought process of wanting to dunk on Gobert again and again and again, because it's so far is like 0 for 4 when he's trying to do that. But he keeps trying. Like, on one hand, I admire that.
Go at the defense.
Because you're such a young team, go at them. Go at their throat. I love it. The other point is, you're in the playoffs, you got to get some smarter shots off, especially when you're down in the series. So Ja Morant's got some things to figure out, but he's just so fun to watch, and he's just so damn talented.
Yeah.
And then we've seen guys this series like Dylan Brooks come in and step up and be that consistent second guy, because Jaren Jackson Jr. looks very, very raw.
Yeah.
He's had some really good possessions defensively and offensively, but his body isn't as how do I put it?
Refined.
Yeah, it doesn't look as refined. Like when you look at a player at his stature,
We'll even compare him to like someone of a similar build in Ayton. Right?
Ayton looks so polished.
Ayton isn't jacked. He's not. People compare him to Shaq when he got drafted. He was never going to be Shaq. He was never ever going to be Shaq, and he's not even going to be a Ewing type.
No.
But his body is very refined and his skill set's refined. Jaren Jackson Jr. is very similar. Like, he's a bit of a Bagley type right now to me.
Yeah, he's more of a Bagley. Definitely more athletic. Can play off the wing a little bit more. Definitely a better shooter. But definitely reminds me a little bit more of Bagley.
More of a Karl Anthony Towns than a classic interior.
Yes, yeah. Triple J is definitely
feels
more of
like
Karl
a
Anthony
wing
Towns.
in a big man's body,
but can be a rim protector.
Yeah.
Which is very unique as to why I am actually a fan of Triple J. He gets into foul trouble a lot. He needs to work that out. Him and Dylan Brooks.
His shot selection as well gets a bit iffy.
Because there were times where, like, going down the stretch in the fourth quarter and nearing overtime potentially, you guys are already on 5 fouls.
Yeah, or they've fouled out.
Yeah,
And
already.
it's like, well, what have you done? You've shot your team in the foot because you were a bit overly rambunctious.
Yeah, and it doesn't even need to be to a point where you've fouled out. Like, obviously, that's the worst case scenario. But if you've got 5 fouls, all of a sudden you can't play defense.
Yeah.
You've really got to hang back a little bit and not touch them.
And NBA players are so good at drawing fouls on whoever they want to.
Yeah,
like they're superstars, they'll get a foul on you easy.
Yeah, this decade especially, it's not even just the superstars are obviously the best at it, but man, everyone's gunning for those calls.
Yeah,
so it makes it really tricky for the defense.
Remember when people complained about the rip through that Chris Paul and KD popularized? That was the worst thing in the league. Now it's not done.
Yeah.
And, it's the next thing.
There's always going to be
something.
Some weird thing that people hate, which I get. The last thing I want to talk about with this series is Donovan Mitchell is still Donovan Mitchell. I was a bit concerned because the team looked really good without him at the start of this series. And even towards the end of the season when he was out and rehabbing. But he came back right away, 30 points.
Yeah.
Decent efficiency. Donovan Mitchell just seems... I'm not going to put him up there with the Jason Tatums. Jason Tatum looks like...
He's on another level.
He could be a top 3 MVP candidate very soon. Donovan Mitchell, I don't think so yet.
But he's a guaranteed all-star.
Guaranteed all-star.
Cemented his slot as the best player on that team.
Yeah.
Despite having Rudy Gobert, despite having JC, despite having all these players, you can tell he's inching his way every year to being a superstar, to be a bona fide star.
And something that goes overlooked, and I see this discussed 2 different ways. So when you watch Utah and it's a close game and there's maybe 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter or 5 minutes, the go-to guy is generally going to be Donovan Mitchell. And that's for one of 2 reasons. People look at it as either... Obviously, if you've got a go-to scorer down the stretch, you've got a clutch player, feed it to that person. That's generally how it goes. You've got your LeBron James, you've got your Kevin Durant.
Give him the ball.
Yes, give them the ball. They know how they're shot creators. They're efficient shot creators. They know what to do. And some Utah fans don't like that because they are very much a team-orientated club. You know, they play some of the best team basketball. It's not just one person. It's not Golden State and Steph Curry. Yeah. Exactly. It's very much team-orientated. But the reason why Donovan Mitchell does go down these stretches where he does need to play, hero ball. I use that lightly because I don't want to put him in that bracket.
This is what has to happen.
A lot of the time when Donovan Mitchell has to do this is because nothing else is working. Because Mike Conley all of a sudden isn't hitting shots. Bogdanovic isn't hitting shots. Gobert you can't use offensively.
Yep.
That's why it defaults to Donovan Mitchell, and he's gotten so much more consistent and better at that down the stretch. And I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing.
In a 6 or 7 game series where the defense is so tight, they're so locked in, they know every scheme you have, they know which way you're going to go around the corner before you do. It comes down to you give the ball to, and we've seen this forever. Yep. You give the ball to your best player, and you say you create your shot.
Yep.
They can't handle you one-on-one. On an island, you can score.
100%. And Donovan Mitchell's even gotten better from 3. He's become an actual deadly 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
It used to be, sometimes you live with it.
Bit Ja Morant-ish.
Yeah, bit Ja Morant-ish. Now he's showing that, if you go under this screen and give me too much space,
and there's a good chance he's going to hit it.
And it's scary now.
A lot more well-rounded.
Yeah, because that's what that Utah haven't had before. When they had Gordon Hayward and his all-star at his peak, they were a good team.
Yeah.
But they didn't have that closer.
Yeah.
And that's what Donovan Mitchell is right now.
That's what a championship team needs.
It's what, Denver had, you've got 2 that you can go to.
Yeah.
Jokic and Jamal Murray when Jamal Murray's in. Both of those are really scary closers, especially Jokic, because I think he's the most clutch player I've seen in a very long time. Donovan Mitchell, that's what he's shaping up to be. And that's what makes this team exciting moving forward in the playoffs, because I don't think any team is going to be able to win a chip that's just team focused. Even when we're talking about Miami last year, Jimmy Butler,
he was their closer.
When
you can look at, every even contending team, they have to have a closer. Otherwise, they're not doing it.
Yeah. And Donovan Mitchell's that guy.
100% is that guy.
So I'm just, that's my favorite takeaway.
Yeah, 100%.
Out of this,
you can
I'm
look
a big
at
Don
any
fan.
series and a fan of either side and get a takeaway. I just want to say that we talk about shot creators like we talk about Brooklyn being and interested in the fucking. They have 3 of the best shot creators in the league. All 3 of them are closers.
Yeah.
It's Kyrie's a closer when he played in Cleveland as well. KD's the best, one of the best closers. I'm going to say the best closer in the league.
Kyrie.
No, KD.
KD, yeah.
Ball in the hands, 25 seconds. I'm giving it to KD.
No one can guard KD.
No one can guard KD. Harden's great as well. Ball in the hands, what are you going to do? And you could, a team would adore having a closer. A championship team needs it. Yep. And Donovan Mitchell was shaping up to that.
Yes.
He's getting better every season.
A lot of what I'm hearing around the league is how much young talent do we deserve?
Yeah.
Because this playoffs so far is showing us, holy crap, we've got an influx of players. And it's right as, these old guys are starting to go. The next generation. It really is. The next generation is Jason Tatum, Ja Morant, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, which I'm going to get to soon. It's all these guys that can create their own shot, get their team going, elevate their team, and really bring them to the playoffs. Which is just, I'm loving where the league's at the moment, is the best way I can put it.
One more word about closers.
Yes.
I've mentioned it before, but Giannis didn't used to be a closer.
No.
And Middleton was a closer. Giannis has gotten a bit better, but that was an issue that I had. And we had a little bit. We went back and forth on it, and over time it's changed. But that was my biggest criticism on Giannis for the longest time, and he wasn't a closer.
Yeah. It's still a bit weird with Milwaukee. I don't know if it's just me. I like Drew Holiday a lot. I like Chris Middleton a lot. I like Giannis a lot. I like those 3 guys a whole lot. I'll just repeat it for you. But I don't think Middleton is the best closer. I don't think Giannis is the best closer. I don't think Drew's the best closer. They are a phenomenal team, one of the best defensive teams in the league. Budenholzer has taken that minutes cap off, and the team's completely different now. Whoop-de-doo, play guys more than 30 minutes, and they're different. Who would have thought?
Speaking of which, the game 1 of Milwaukee versus Brooklyn is on currently. We're like first quarter, maybe start of the second.
Yeah, I think it was right at the start of the second.
So the moment this is done, we'll be finishing off watching that.
We're excited
So
for
that's
that.
going on at the time of recording.
You said it best. It was pure offense, but pure defense.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's weird because Utah have a clear closer. Memphis have a clear closer. And whilst those teams don't feel as good as Milwaukee don't have a closer per se.
They don't have he's 100% getting the ball at crunch time. And it's probably going to be Middleton because he's shown he can do it. But it's not a lock in my head.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw Middleton get swatted by Claxton on the 3-point line and Claxton didn't even jump.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And that's not to knock Middleton. We both adore Middleton. We absolutely adore him. But that's Milwaukee's biggest issue is their best player isn't their closer.
Middleton, besides not being really a great closer, he doesn't have a flaw, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he's
a good defender, good passer, good shot creator. So good.
So good.
It's like someone just made a 2K player and just put points into everything.
Yeah, 85 in every stat.
Just didn't have enough to be a phenomenal closer.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Middleton's so fucking good.
But speaking of Nets, the one big series, and we spoke about it last week, more on the Celtics side of things, is the Nets and Celtics series. That's now come to an end. Celtics took one game. Made it very, very close.
They did.
Which was cool to see. We spoke about Jason Tatum last year. Not last year, last episode. Week. And we're in agreement, very soon, Tatum could be in the top 3 MVP discussions. I can definitely see he's a great 100%. Defender, phenomenal shot creator, one of the best in the league already, and just a difficult guy to guard at his size and length.
He's figured out how to weaponize his skill set, and that's a big thing for younger guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned before, Danny Ainge has retired. He's stepped down. Brad Stevens has now replaced him.
Brad Stevens, the new basketball GM, and they're now looking for a head coach.
Did you see this happening?
Fuck no.
No one did.
Because Danny Ainge has done very well as a basketball GM, will make any trade at any time.
Yeah.
He's done a lot, pretty well respected. And Brad Stevens, again, very well respected, is a great coach.
Yeah.
It seems like it was mutual for both sides. It seemed like Danny Ainge was, he wanted to leave, and Brad Stevens was getting worn out from coaching.
Yeah. There was that quote from Brad Stevens where this was, I think it was yesterday or the day before. He says, as we were losing that game, in my mind, it was, this is my last game as a coach, but I couldn't tell the guys. Like, he knew, and that's a wild thing, getting that insight from him firsthand. I definitely didn't see this happening. I thought they had a great foundation with what they had with Tatum flourishing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It seems like once Jaylen Brown came back and they made some moves, things would start clicking again. Absolutely. As they did initially with Brad Stevens.
Their second best player is injured.
But he's confident. I think Brad Stevens has a phenomenal basketball mind. I have no doubt that he's going to be a good GM. Who do they replace him with?
Right. So I think he'll come back to coaching eventually. And when he does, he can get nearly for any team in the league.
Yeah.
If he does want to stay in Boston. Who do they get? Well, Terry Stotts is available, but that's not one you want.
I've heard it thrown around.
They shouldn't.
Already. It's too soon to say. I think this is, 2 days old? This news?
Yeah. I think you give this time to breathe.
Yes.
But this is the issue we constantly have, is the lack of great, like A-tier coaches available.
Oh, yeah. I'll ask you a question and just let me know if you agree or disagree. I think the most important thing right now for Brad Stevens isn't to replace his role, get a new head coach. It's to make these moves first. Rumor is move off Marcus Smart, move off Kemba Walker, create a foundation that he's comfortable with, then find a coach that fits that foundation. Not try and rebuild a foundation off a new head coach.
I understand that. It also, you don't want to give the head coach saying, these are all your new players, then boom, change. You don't want a Stephen Silas situation.
Yes, you don't want that.
So he might do that. I don't know how long it's going to take him to make moves.
Well, the fact I've already heard 2 rumors about Brad Stevens and what he wants on the trade block is wild to me. I thought it would have been a month or something, but no, he's like, no.
Wait till the season ends, but no.
He's done with Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker already.
Well, to be fair, if there's anyone that knows what's not going to work with that team currently, it's going to be him.
Yeah. He's got the biggest insight.
Yeah. So I don't know Oh, look, in my head, he's going to make the move first, then he's going to help find the head coach. But
that's what I think that'd be the smartest move to make, because people underestimate how difficult it is to have players and coaches that match. We spoke about this a couple weeks ago about Vucevic and Fournier. Great players.
yeah,
Like Vooch is a certified all-star. Fournier can be one of the best sixth men on the league if you want him to come off the bench.
100%.
But it doesn't seem to work in Boston for Fournier, and it doesn't seem to work in Chicago for Vooch. And it is very soon to say.
But they haven't found success in the second half of their season.
Yep. And it's not even they haven't found success. It's they're looking like not great players.
Yeah.
At all.
Which is strange.
It's strange.
Because they passed the eye test, you know.
They do the
10 times
intangibles.
over.
They do everything you want on the court for their position. And it could just be a coaching thing and a foundation thing. They just don't fit in that because they were so good in Orlando under their coach. And you put them under Brad Stevens. You put them under... Who's the Chicago coach again? I've completely forgotten. I don't... Very little
Billy
about
Donovan.
Billy Donovan. May just not work.
Yeah.
Billy Donovan doesn't have a great track record with coaching these traditional bigs. You know, it could be that. And, you know, I think Brad Stevens obviously knows a lot more about basketball than I ever will. I'll admit that. So whatever decision he's going to make, I'm going to trust it's the right one. But I think that's the right move to make, is to get the coach once you've figured out what players you want to start the season with.
Change that team outlook, change the team foundation, and then you go from there.
Yep. Anything else on that series you want to talk about?
We covered most of it.
Yeah.
It seemed like a Nets dominated series. They look like they're in the driver's seat. We'll go over the upcoming series now. Do you want to talk about the Brooklyn, Milwaukee?
We'll talk about it now. You've touched on it, may as well. And then I'll move on to the next one after.
This, to me, is one of the highlights of the playoffs. This, to me, is like two of the best teams in the league, especially with Embiid. You know,
Which is, it's weird. Oh, wait, which series?
Milwaukee, Brooklyn, with Embiid out.
Yeah.
To me, these are the two
Sorry,
best
you
teams
said
in the league.
Embiid, and my mind was like, really? Which is weird to say, because we've said this whole time that Milwaukee need to prove themselves, because they have not had postseason success ever. And granted, they still haven't.
But they look different.
They look so different.
They look so much more polished.
Yep. It is
Milwaukee are the Jason Tatum of the NBA.
They really are. What was that quote recently? KD was talking about tough matchups.
Oh, yeah. He was on the Boardroom podcast, and then he was talking to his friends about how he's like matched up against different things. He's so like, LeBron, Kobe, Memphis.
Memphis as a whole. That's what they are.
It's because of those fucking OKC versus Memphis matchups.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what Milwaukee feel like right now. That team as a whole is just brutal.
Yeah.
They're going to give you hard defense. They're no slump on offense.
And they're a full court team.
Yep. It's so scary. You actually have to guard them on the perimeter, because everyone on that team can freaking shoot. Even Giannis
everyone can defend.
shoot at this. Giannis is like the Ja Morant, where not a great shooter, but you still don't want to leave him open too much. It's a fun team because it's offense versus defense. And I keep forgetting Steve Nash is the coach of this team. Yeah. It very much, and it's no disrespect to Steve Nash, it really just does feel like Ty Lue coaching Bron and let Bron.
Interesting. I don't get that vibes.
It's a weird. I wouldn't say it's a vibe.
Look, I understand what you mean. It feels like the players overshadow him a bit, but because we see ISO from the 3 stars.
Yeah.
And then they pass it 3, because we don't see like set plays like we see often in.
I think that's what I was hoping
Jazz,
for,
right? And why would he?
I mean, that's what I mean. It's no knock. There's literally no need.
It
would slow everything down.
Yeah, he's running what's best for his team.
I think what Steve Nash is doing is perfect. He doesn't need to change a single thing.
Yeah.
I've got no criticism.
But I know what you mean. Like, it doesn't feel like when you think of a Steve Nash offense, in your head, and in my head, I think of very intricate plays. Yeah. Lots of plays, lots of switches, lost it, and
Steve Nash controlled the pace of the offense. He slowed it down, would set picks, whatever.
He's the chess master.
He is. Speaking of which, speaking of chess just got me going on another series.
Draymond?
No. Clippers and Dallas. Holy shit, that's been a chess match.
Holy shit. We're going to get to that in just a second. Let's finish off this.
Because
holy shit.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to win? Just quickly. It's the first game going right now. By the time we finish this, it'll probably be end of the third, start of the fourth.
Harden left in the first quarter due to hamstring, so he went back for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
If he didn't tear his hamstring up and they're just playing it off, if he's healthy for game 2, I think Brooklyn will win the series. I think it'll go down to 7, but I see them clutching it out with KD closing.
I'm very upfront. I can't stand this Brooklyn team. And I love this Milwaukee team, but I can't see Milwaukee winning.
I could see it winning. I could see it going to 7, but I see Brooklyn just taking it.
Yeah, I don't have a strong stance in either corner.
Mm-hmm.
But this Brooklyn team, KD is playing like prime KD. James Harden's still playing like James Harden. Kyrie Irving is playing with his 2 best buds. Of course, is going to be happy playing the way he wants to play. Like Joe Harris's defense doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, we saw so many of these games last series when they were versing Boston. And I want to say 80% of the points by 3 people. Like, that's not me exaggerating.
When all guns are firing,
yeah.
They
How
win.
do you stop that?
How do you stop that? And it's something we've been saying for ages. They've got a chain gun, and the chain gun keeps spinning. And every time you think, they'll run out of ammo soon, no.
And then, you especially when you've got guys like Claxton, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, all these guys which can still contribute.
Yeah, Blake Griffin.
They just haven't needed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there was that stat, and it was like, I think it was Brooklyn's bench, I think last game, didn't score until 37 minutes in. And know what my thought was? And didn't matter.
Didn't fucking matter.
They're so good offensively.
This is the weirdest team I've ever seen. It seems like a 2K team where you go into like association and you rig the trades. You're like, trade override
on.
Yeah, and you do this, and you're like, ha ha ha. And you're like, the fuck is this?
Oh, Adam had a cool thing going. He sent me a photo. You know how we have like the YGO bracket going? He did that because he's got, for those that don't know, 2K21 on the PS5. Completely different
brother
game.
Adam picked up PS5, 2K21.
I adore it.
I adore it.
I really want one.
I want to play it so bad right now.
One of us are going to get one at some point.
At some point. And the thing is, it's so much... We're going to go into a quick tangent. It's so much slower, and it fits my playstyle so bad. In the first game, Adam beat me on a buzzer beater.
Yep.
And then I took you apart, essentially.
Yeah, I can't remember our match at all, actually.
I felt like I took you apart, and then it was close. I took you apart, then it was close.
Oh, okay.
But...
Rubber banding is what I
Rubber banding, but yeah, this playstyle suits me so much better.
The moment I played, I was like, this Tyler's going to love this shit.
Oh, so fucking good. Adam had a bracket.
Yeah, he had a bracket going, and I think the intention was to sim, so we set up brackets, and he was just going to sim to see who wins what. Similar to what we've done before.
Yeah.
Adam, I would like to see the outcome, because I live for that shit.
Yeah, we love sim and stuff.
I love
simulations.
That. So please let me know how that goes. Yeah, that's the Brooklyn Milwaukee series that's happening right now, which I didn't think would be as exciting as it sounds. It really is going to be one for the ages. But the series that really, in a weird way, is, I think probably my second favorite series so far in the first round has been Dallas vs Clippers. It's you start me off. You're smiling, you're giggling like a little schoolgirl.
I love Luka.
We all love Luka.
I've been riding his train from the moment he got drafted.
Oh, his train.
This guy is incredible.
Okay. Yep.
And I really like it when, like, I've been a Kawhi fan since Toronto. And not too long, but he showed me then that he's a superstar when he plays. When he wants to fucking play.
It's when he wants to, right? Yeah.
And this series, and especially that last game, where he got like 45 and shot like 80% from the field or something.
It's insane.
Holy fucking shit.
It's insane. So yeah, for those, the main thing I wanted to take off from this series is talking about Game 6, because it's going into Game 7. I think it's tomorrow or the day after. I'll have to check the schedule. Yeah. But Game 6 was phenomenal. Now, we've seen Luka go off 40 points, whatever it is. And he's the reason... He is the fucking reason Dallas is still in this series.
He's the reason they're in the playoffs. He's the reason they're anything.
Luka
fucking magic.
Porzingis is a sorry ass fucking 7-3
That was a Tim Hardaway
center.
trade.
It is.
That was it.
KOC was right.
Yeah.
It's the Tim Hardaway. It was Tim Hardaway and for
Dennis Smith Jr.
Dennis Smith, yeah, and somehow Derrick Rose got tossed up into something and then landed on. It wasn't part of that trade, but it was just like somehow out of that
You're talking about Derrick Rose getting tossed off.
That whole fucking that year, Derrick Rose and Tim Hardaway Jr. became the two best players for those teams, besides obviously Luka and Julius Randle. But Porzingis, I want to start off. What the fuck is that man doing? 7 points, 4 rebounds.
He's not good anymore. He's just a wing. He's just a fucking Bertans. He's Latvian Bertans, and there's no one in the world that can tell me otherwise.
No, right now he's Bertans. They're both garbage. Get the same amount of boards.
Campazzo's getting more rebounds.
What did he get one game? Like 7 rebounds?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
He's a monster.
That's more than double of what Porzingis got.
That is high energy.
High energy. Porzingis doesn't have that. He's really frustrating to watch. And I've said this before, when I watch Dallas, I get sad because Porzingis isn't the Porzingis we knew.
That's not the Porzingis that you loved.
I wouldn't say I loved Porzingis.
You were always on Big Peanut.
But he was unique. He was a 7'3" Latvian guy that could score 35 points per game. Yeah. And I'm not exaggerating. It was 35 points per game. He was averaging
like 30 points.
And then all of a sudden it's 7 points per game. Last year he was okay, averaging around 19, 20 points per game off decent efficiency.
That was when they fed him the ball a lot because they were like, yeah, Luka and KP, Luka and KP, Luka and KP.
That's what I wanted to touch on. So obviously we're shitting on KP right now as he deserves to be shit on. But why is he only getting 6 attempts per game?
Because they've realized that all he does is shoot threes. He cannot create his own shot. No. He cannot roll to the rim right well. He's not going to finish strong in traffic. All he can do is a pick and pop.
But he had success when he was getting more attempts.
But that's all it was.
Yep.
That's it.
My question, and you're not going to have the answer, obviously.
No, Rick Carlisle knows more about basketball than I do.
I want to know because the numbers show when he gets more attempts at the shots he's comfortable at, he's an efficient 20-plus points per game scorer.
Yes.
But he's getting less shots now and is being made redundant despite being on the same contract that Luke is on, basically. I don't get it.
Does his shots lead to winning?
Good question, because I haven't won yet.
That's the thing that I've thought about this series. And I was watching KP and watching how he's getting, less shots than last year and stuff like that. And he obviously got made fun of a little bit last year because he couldn't post up. He couldn't back down Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's a great defender as well. Yeah. Good, strong foundation, good body strength. But does KP stretching the floor lead to them winning currently?
And I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. I'd rather have Dwight Powell on the floor as a rim runner than KP.
As a rim runner, for sure. KP feels like a giraffe. Doesn't know how to run properly.
I think Dwight Powell fits that team a lot better than KP does. But let's not gripe on him too much. Let's talk about the positives of this series.
Well, so one of the positives is also a negative for me, which is Luka. And I love Luka. Luka's a fucking superstar. Mm-hmm. He is going to be up there with Jason Tatum, top 3 MVP candidate, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But he is also very frustrating to watch for a very different reason. He doesn't shoot the fucking ball when he needs to shoot the ball. Watching Game 6 was the most frustrating Luka game I've ever seen. He had so many open shots, and he dished it out.
So, I was frustrated as well. And it reminded me sometimes of LeBron. Because they have a very similar play style. Luka tends to that one play style. Even LeBron's a bit more versatile.
Yep.
Where it feels like they're doing the correct basketball play.
Yeah, I get you. Correct.
And it's the issue that Bron's had a bit, is sometimes they're too smart for their own good and they think this is the correct basketball play. Mm-hmm. And because if you look at the game as a whole, look at the game from bird's eye view, that might be the correct play. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you're the best player on the fucking team.
Just shoot the fucking ball.
Shoot the
ball. Especially when you're open. Like, down the stretch. And we just spoke about this to start this episode. Every team needs a closer. And Luka's their closer. A phenomenal
He's incredible.
Closer. Refused to shoot the ball.
And you look on the other side.
Had it open. And look at what Kawhi Leonard did. 45
said,
points
give me the fucking
like
ball.
80% from the field.
Incredible.
Fucking crazy. And just touching on that is they don't know how to defend Kawhi for shit. They don't understand that Kawhi puts distance so he can elevate up to shoot the ball. They didn't understand that. Time and time again, he was creating that same distance they wouldn't close out on.
He got that mismatch he wanted, and Luka has never been a great defender, but he could not handle Kawhi.
Yeah.
Kawhi got to his spots whenever he wanted.
No one could. Every time I watch Kawhi get the ball, I'm talking to the television, that's too much space.
Yeah.
And he'd rise up, drain it.
And
It was
I
so
always think,
frustrating.
Kawhi's not a great shooter. No, he fucking
he
is.
is. When he wants to be,
when he gets to his
that's
spots,
the thing, right?
it's so frustrating. When he wants to be, he's like top 3. He's like top 5 in the league.
It's why this series is so weird, because when Kawhi wants to be a superstar, he's a superstar.
Yeah.
When Luka shoots the ball, decides to shoot the ball, he's a superstar.
Yeah.
It was so weird seeing Luka go from like a 40-point game to being open down the stretch and forcing himself to make the pass. But then, when they were 10 points down with under 40 seconds to go, he'd walk past halfway, shoot it,
Hearable.
drain it. Do that from the fucking start, man.
I know.
Luka, if you're watching this, amongst all the other NBA players I mentioned on this pod, just
What else they
shoot
do? They
the
got
ball.
fuck all to do. They're just sitting at home.
Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they're going to be shooting. Fuck, even Reggie Jackson's shooting the
Paul
ball.
George has played really well this series. He's had a quietly good series because he's not averaging 30, but he's averaging 20.
He's their third best player right now in this series. Reggie Jackson's their second best player.
He's stepping up.
Yep.
But I just want to. Paul George's playing good defense.
Yes.
He's putting in intangibles. He's passing the eye test.
Yep.
And for a guy who's been a villain, been a hero, been a villain, and he's had mixed results.
He's gonna be that villain, and I think you start being that villain when we confirm your infidelity. I'm sorry, Paul George.
And look, he's a piece of shit, but people are overly mean sometimes. I don't like Paul George as a human, but I'm glad he didn't play well, and his confidence took a big hit in the bubble.
Paul George has not done anything to me that makes me vehemently dislike him. Mm-hmm. There are some players in the league that do. I'm not going to name them now because you'll get triggered. But Paul George isn't one of those guys. He's done some moves and decisions which have obviously frustrated both of us. Mm. But he's a damn good player.
Oh, he's a very good player. I remember him saying what happened in the bubble really hurt his self-confidence and hurt his mental health. And no one deserves that. I'm glad to see him getting a bit of that confidence back where he's not in the star spotlight, but he's able to play really well.
Yep.
And no one's talking about it. I didn't see anything about Paul George online right now.
It's because he's not playing.
He's not playing
superstar ball.
A superstar, yeah.
But he's not playing like shit.
Yeah.
He's just playing good basketball, and no one's going to talk about the guy that's playing good basketball. You know, that's just the way.
That's why Chris Middleton doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But this series, oh my god,
just
Game 7.
Before I move on to the next series, who do you think is going to win Game 7? Just where's your heart at? Emotionally, who do you think is going to win? Clippers?
If Kawhi wants to be a superstar, they can't stop him.
Does Kawhi want to go to the second round? That's all it is, right?
Because they cannot fucking stop him. He's too good.
They're just going to ask him, Kawhi, do you want to win this game or
Yeah.
not? And I was like, all right, pack up, boys. He doesn't want to win.
Yeah.
Right?
And Luka's incredible. And hits game winners. He's fucking incredible. But they can't stop Kawhi at all if he wants to win.
I don't think anyone can. If you get Kawhi locked in,
He's so fucking
offensively, he's the most efficient shooter
Yeah.
I've seen, which is wild to see. But it's so few and far between lately.
Yeah.
You know, we saw that in the run with Toronto. Every game was the Kawhi game.
He just gets to his spots.
Now it's not.
And that was such a shock because Kawhi has his spots. Since when did he turn into this fucking 30 points per game, I'm Kobe, you can't stop me type player?
It really is the only reason I don't have him as one of the best players in the league is because it feels
too far in between.
Yeah, I
remember saying after that Toronto series, I had him in my top 3, and you and Adam disagreed, and now I see why. I thought he was going to stay like that, but clearly he hasn't. And whatever, for whatever reason.
Some of it is due to injury. He's got a nagging injury that's never going to go. Unfortunately,
you can see it.
Yeah, but he was limping last game again, but still dropped 45.
Wild. His game 6 he was limping. Fuck.
But yeah, that's the only reason I don't have him as one of the best. When he wants to be the best, he's the fucking best player on the court.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who he's going against.
Even with Luka there. That's so incredible.
Made Luka Luka had 29 points. That didn't feel like 29 points.
No.
But you could see how dominant Kawhi Leonard was. But yeah, that's enough on that series.
Yeah.
I've got the Clippers winning it, unfortunately. I want them to lose just because Lakers lost. I'll talk about that next.
We've got 2 more series to cover.
Two more to cover.
That are closest to our hearts.
Yes. So we'll end it on a good note. So let's talk about my
The
series.
salsa dancing competition.
Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. And I'm so upset. And it's not because we lost.
Pain.
Pain. I feel so much pain. So there are 3 things I have listed down. I have like dot points on everything. I have 3 things for this
We
series.
have a fucking essay.
It is Lakers role players, Suns dirty play, LeBron gross. So let's start from the bottom.
Oh, I haven't laughed like that on the pod in a while.
Lakers role players.
Lakers role players.
Garbage right
Yes.
now. In this series,
Yes.
garbage.
From having your role players step up at every turn
Yep.
to what the fuck are they doing?
Yep. So I'll preface by saying these are the 3 things which is why I emotionally am upset with this series. And it's not because we lost. Okay. We were not the better team in this situation. That's fine. The Lakers role players were just not good. 0 points, 0 points, 2 points, 2 points. Schroeder, what the fuck?
Montrezl Harrell.
Montrezl didn't get played. He had 2 did not plays. Yeah. And so this is a weird thing, which I'll talk about soon, but Montrezl isn't coming back.
No.
There's some, not drama, but obviously the front office isn't seeing eye to eye with how we should play Montrezl.
Yeah.
Montrezl is much better than the front office would lead him to be.
Yeah.
You know, he's not getting played at all.
In the right role, in the right, very specific, he's very niche. He has a niche skill set.
His niche, but his buckets.
Yes. And if you put him in that role he's made for, he's great.
Yep.
But if you try to make him to do anything else, you won't get the best out of him.
The confusing thing about this decision to not play Montrezl, most of it, is the fact that we needed buckets.
And you played
And
Drummond.
there was we played Drummond for fuck's sake. Drummond's horribly offensively.
Yeah.
Because Caruso wasn't getting anything, Kuzma wasn't getting anything, Schroeder wasn't getting anything, as the world fucking knows at this point. None of our role players could score.
Yeah.
But Montrezl could. There was one game where he was super efficient, but then that was it. He played like 9 minutes and that was gone.
You'd really hope that this season Caruso and Montrezl figured it out together and they would have been able to do like a pick and roll.
Could have done some damage, man.
Because Caruso's your 3rd best player.
Yes.
And Montrezl, Caruso's a smart player as well. Him and Montrezl should have been able to figure it out.
Yep.
For whatever reason, they couldn't.
And we've spoken about Caruso before. The reason why he's so high up on that tier list with the Lakers is because he knows the scheme. He knows where to be at every moment.
Very smart player.
But if everyone else doesn't,
it doesn't matter.
He's just going to be invisible.
Yeah.
He's not a shot creator. You know, he's not going to do any of that. He's just going to be where the team needs him to be and make the right plays. But if Kuzma doesn't know what he's doing, if Schroeder doesn't know what he's doing, it's just, if it falls apart, he's going to fall apart with it. And that's unfortunate. That's the first thing I wanted to touch on. This Lakers, it needs to change. You know, I think keeping the right thing to do would have been to keep Dwight if everyone could have been a little bit more patient so we could actually, because him and AD worked perfectly together. Well. Even a JaVale McGee, which we didn't keep either.
Yeah.
It didn't make much sense getting unathletic big guys like Marc Gasol and Andre Drummond. It was a bit weird to me.
Interesting choices.
The second thing, and this is no knock to the Suns. The Suns, like I said, they're the better team this series. They deserve to go on. We don't. We've got to refocus and then potentially blow things up a little bit. But the thing that I was disappointed to see were the amount of dirty plays I saw. I'm a fan of, harsh plays
Tough
and dirty
basketball.
plays. Dylan Brooks, we've spoken about. I love Dylan Brooks, but he's a dirty player. There are shots where he's jabbing Mike Conley. And that's the kind of dirty play that I'm okay with. Just rough him up, let him know this is going to be a tough matchup. You're not going to want to be around me.
Rough and tough.
Yes.
You like Grizzlies, 04 Pistons, that sort of stuff.
Morally, is it wrong? Probably. But I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate, which I've spoken about before, is shoving players in midair, tripping players as they're running down the court intentionally. I don't like that stuff. So seeing
anything
a team,
that could cause an injury.
Yes. Because jabbing a guy's not going to do anything. They're built for this.
They have a bit, they might have a sore rib that night.
That's fine. We've seen Jokic with fucking bleeding every night, from scratches in the post. It just happens. But pushing players in midair and tripping players, that's the thing I don't tolerate because I don't want anyone to get injured.
Yeah.
And that's what the Suns did a lot. And it was a bit shitty to see. Doesn't diminish, their win and doesn't take away from their series victory. But that was, shitty to see because we didn't do that. We had some rough plays and altercations, but that was it.
We talked about it. Suns are prissy, and they're a bit bitchy. They're a bit this, that, and the third, and all that. And that's just sort of the way they are with their players. Chris Paul's like that. Devin Booker's like that. Jay Crowder's like that. Yeah. And that leaks throughout the rest of the team as well.
The frustrating thing to me regarding Devin Booker, and it wasn't Devin Booker himself, it was his fans saying how hard Devin Booker is, how much he loves talking that shit. He talks a lot of shit.
He does.
He's a quiet kid, but he talks a lot of shit. And then comparing him to like Joel Embiid and Trae Young. Those two on the East have been the go-to trash talkers for the crowd. They're different.
Very different.
They're not trying to injure players. They're not shoving players in midair.
That is playful trash talk.
Yes.
Compared to Devin Booker, it's you can see it on his face.
Well, let me put it this way: if I'm at Madison Square Garden, if I'm in the Philly Arena, those two add to the experience. Trae Young and Joel Embiid, they feed off the energy and they give it back. Tenfold. I love that shit. If I'm watching a Phoenix game and I've got to see him shoving players and not knowing if that player's going to come down okay, that just sours the experience.
It does.
Very different. So I don't know where that's got lost in translation. That's not okay.
Yeah.
But I'll move on from that. The biggest disappointment, this is why I texted you pain.
Yeah.
What the fuck is LeBron James doing? LeBron, and I'm just going to talk about it for a little bit. Okay,
Absolutely.
Before we go on to...
Before we'll... Yep. And I'll get my 2 cents in now.
Yep.
Is that I've seen a lot of people talk about it online, and it's the talk of the town because it's LeBron. Some people say he's retiring. Not happening. Some people say he knew this series was done without AD. Possibly.
Look like it.
But that's not how you should act. You're the role model of the league.
Yep. That's exactly where I'm gonna take over from that.
Go for it.
You are the role model of the entire NBA. You are the NBA's of the basketball. When you think basketball, you think LeBron James.
One of the biggest role models of sport in the world of sport.
Yes. Yep.
And he's come out and said, I want to be the role model. I want to be the guy. Never had a parking ticket. Never had any sort of drama, really, like big stuff.
Never any scandals.
Never scandals. He's come out and he's tried to be a role model for people.
Yep. And he comes out and says things like, and he said this last year, you know, we're such a good team where if, I'm paraphrasing, but if one of our guys go down, stay down, we'll come get you. We're going to lift you up. That's the cliche thing that he says. He's a very cliche kind of guy. But time and time again, I thought it was just funny at first. But then time and time again, I saw Kuzma go down. Caruso going to physically go down. LeBron looks at them and turns the other way. I've never seen that before. I've never seen the captain of the fucking team, or anyone for that matter, look at your teammate that goes down and just turn the eye. I've never seen that shit. So that was the beginning of it. And then I see him, one of his players miss a shot, stays down that end as...
Doesn't get back on defense.
I'm speechless at that. A complete lack of energy, a complete lack of attitude. The right attitude is not there anymore. Rondo said it best last year. LeBron has to be careful because everyone, especially the young guys, they get impacted by his body language. Nothing he says, his body language. And his body language this entire fucking series has been abysmal. It's just been so disgusting to watch. And I've said this time and time again. I loved having Randall, D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, because much like Denver, these were our guys. We drafted these. We made small trade acquisitions. Homegrown players. And I would have loved to see how far we could have taken it. And I understand it can't stay that way. We're, not bragging or anything, but it is a winning franchise. Lakers want to win every single year. And so I understand you got to make moves. You can't sit on the young guys too long. But to see all of that being taken away and Brandon Ingram become an all-star, Randall become an all-star, Lonzo Ball going to get a fat contract soon, and Jordan Clarkson, sixth man of the year, to seeing LeBron just act like he just doesn't give a shit. And even the numbers show he's only attacked the rim under 20% of this entire series, whereas used to 57%.
Yeah.
He's changed completely, and it feels like, and I've never been someone that's fed in and believed into what fans say about someone's personality. But it really does feel like he's won chips in Miami. He's won the chip in Cleveland. He's already won the one in LA. I'm good. That's really what his body language feels like. If things aren't going his way the first half of the game, Anthony Davis went out, no one else can knock shots down, you're not attacking the rim, why bother? And that it's just really, that's the thing this series. I don't give a fuck that we lost. I care that moving forward, we've got LeBron, and we're struggling with an injured KD. We've made the bad moves in the offseason, and we've got a core which now has to put up with his body language and attitude. It's not a good fit. And I would never have thought that with LeBron James.
I agree with everything you've said wholeheartedly.
That's it.
We don't need to touch on it anymore because
it.
We'll be hearing about it on every media outlet going forward.
Yep.
But yeah, I 100% agree. It's disheartening.
It really is. Like this is my team.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to watch my team now. Yeah. I'd much rather watch Utah. I'd much rather watch Philly, where players love the crowd. They love the team they're with. They put in 110%. LeBron puts in like 60%, it looks like. It's just, I don't know, he's 36 years old, but fuck, man, this is my team.
He's still the best player in the fucking league.
I was thinking about this 2 nights ago.
I can't count this series as like his absolute detriment.
I'm counting this entire year. It's hard for me to say he's now the best player in the league where he's had a big injury this year and he's shown a complete lack of effort with also a complete change of direction with his play style. He's a top 10 player.
If this coming
I
season,
don't know about the best player in the league.
he exactly the same, or if throughout the rest of this playoff series, someone steps up to match him, because it could happen,
Yep.
then them.
Yep.
But until it's definitive, to me, he's still the best. And it has to be definitive to me. I can, like, I was watching these games and I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That's not LeBron.
It didn't look like LeBron.
That's Lowborn.
It really looked like
Lowborn Jones.
Yeah, it looked like on the set of Space Jam 2, someone really did suck some of his talent out.
Yeah.
Because this is not the LeBron that we know.
Exactly.
Like, we won the chip last year, and this isn't what we saw last year.
No. So until it's absolutely definitive for me, he's the best.
That's fair.
Which is fine. Like, not everyone has to agree. But for me, it has to be without a shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
And there's still doubts for me.
Yep. That's fair.
But we'll move on to the last series because we are stretching for time.
Yeah. I just realized we forgot one, but that's
No,
all
what
right.
is it?
Oh, I was going to talk about Atlanta and New York, which is kind of done.
We talked about that a bunch
we
last
don't
week.
need to. We're just
excited.
Randall, just a couple things. Randall was disappointing.
Yeah.
People get that they weren't meant to be in the playoffs anyway, so that's fine.
And he got all the defensive attention.
RJ Barrett doesn't deserve any shit because he's very raw. He wasn't meant to be here to begin with.
Still very green. Don't you dare slander our boy.
Exactly. And Derrick Rose is the best player on behalf of the Knicks that series. Derrick Rose really showed up, and I'm happy to see it. It's a shame he couldn't have made it to the next round.
Loved by all.
But Trae Young's going to be there, and that's a better replacement for me.
We'll be talking about Atlanta a lot next week. We talked about him a lot last week.
Yep. All right, last one.
Denver, Portland.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. I was shitting myself many times.
2 overtimes. How do y'all do it? This, like, whenever Denver play Portland, it's the funnest stuff.
Dame fucking hates us. Dame hates us.
Dame hates everybody when he plays you guys.
Austin Rivers signified how I felt. Praying to the basketball gods because Austin Rivers playing amazing defense.
Yeah.
Dame was hitting shot after shot after shot. Everyone's seen the clip by now. Austin Rivers puts his hand together and says, "Thank you." Looks up to the heavens at the basketball gods and says, "Thank the fucking Lord that man finally missed."
Damian Lillard was at 55 points.
Yeah. The most efficient 55-point 10 assist game in playoff history.
12 from 17, I believe it was.
Yeah.
From 3. That's not from the field. That's from 3. That's crazier than video game numbers.
No, he had the most. Yeah.
He now holds the record for most threes in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Beat Clay from 11.
Yeah.
Now it's 12 with Damian fucking Lillard. Adam texted me and he was like, "You've got a good game to watch tonight." And this was when we were getting Lakers were getting stomped by like 30 points. I'm like, "No, we're not.
They're on the same. They're on the same day." Adam messaged me. He's like, "How you feeling, buddy?" And I just got home from the city because it was my one day off and I had to pop into the city. And I'm like, I just got home. I know it's in overtime. I'm shitting myself. Absolutely shitting myself.
Crazy. Like out of nowhere, because this series has been pretty standard for the most part. Then out of nowhere, double OT. It's just flashbacks again. Just no Rodney Hood this time.
I can't fucking handle it, dude. We had one OT. I'm like, this better not go to 2. Then we saw it the second. I'm like, this fucking better not go to 3.
Damian Lillard, he shoots the way Luka should shoot. Luka, just shoot it. Watch some Damian Lillard film, for fuck's sake. But it's this sorry-ass team. It ended so abruptly because of CJ McCollum.
I was so happy that dumb motherfucker put his foot out of bounds. CJ, the same guy who killed us last year, the guy who who ripped us apart in series pass, his back foot just happened to slip off and he couldn't make a shot. And then he does this,
he goes,
oh, was that me? Was that me, guys? I can't make a shot.
Fucked up,
I can't make a shot since half time.
Oh my God, no one on this team can score except CJ. This is why I'm excited to see where Portland go now that Stotts is out. But I'm also scared because Damian Lillard wants Jason Kidd as the head coach. Why?
Look. Jason Kidd has had one head coaching opportunity. Was it amazing? No. He's had time to reflect. He's had time as an assistant coach now. I don't think Portland is a good spot for him, but I think he does deserve another coaching chance.
He's had one highlight out of his entire career.
More than Luke Walton. Walton got a second chance immediately.
No, I guess Luke Walton is more of a low light.
I'd rather see Jason Kidd have a chance on a bad team than him go to Portland. I want Jason Kidd to have another chance, just not at Portland.
Okay, that's fair. I get that. Why not Portland? Portland are in win now.
Fuck yes, they are. You got to win.
It's so weird.
Dame.
It's so weird for you to say, and I get it. I agree with you, but it is weird to hear you say this coach absolutely, without a doubt, 100% deserves a coaching gig, just not with Portland.
Just not on a team that needs to win right away.
Just not a good team.
Because Orlando. I think Jason Kidd can be a good coach.
Yep.
He has the potential. He's had time to reflect. He's had time in assistant coach position. Give him another chance somewhere else. But you got rid of Terry Stotts because you needed a better coach. You need a proven coach.
You know what coach I can see Kidd kind of being like?
Who?
Stotts. Tell me I'm wrong. They're both B+ kind of coaches at best. Where's the lie, people?
I know.
Jason Kidd is getting shady
to shit right now.
Jason Kidd is shady Terry Stotts, which isn't a bad thing. No. You know, everyone loves a little bit of drama on the front office.
I just don't know what the fuck Portland are going to do because they need a good coach.
They need a great coach.
They need a great coach because they've got some great pieces. They need to make a change. Get rid of CJ.
Move off CJ. Potentially move off Nurk. And I hate to say it, but they need to make changes. And it's weird to say because CJ is such a good shot creator too.
Yeah.
But they need some better wing defenders. He can't do it in the playoffs
consistently. He can sometimes. Yeah. And he's killed us in the past. He's done really well sometimes. But he can't do it consistently.
And they need consistency.
Melo was the second best fucking scorer on that team for some reason. And all they get Melo to do is 10 to 15 points per game. But he's able to do that consistently every night.
Rocco is meant to be doing more.
Rocco hasn't.
Right, he's not been great. He's not been good.
Rocco is a really good off-ball defender. He's able to fight through screens really well. He struggles a bit when he's the centerpiece of the defense, and that's what he's been in Portland. That's why one of the reasons he's struggled a lot. Because he's been, okay, Rocco, you're our whole defense. And it's like, well...
That's really what it is, right? You're our whole defense.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard's our whole offense.
Yeah.
It's the 1-2 punch.
And guess what? Rocco struggled. Dame didn't.
Yeah. Blow it up.
No. You need a small explosion.
A little one, like a little bit of a dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to make some changes.
Dear God, all I'm saying to the front office in Portland, I love Dame, but don't let Dame make the decisions. You should never let...
But there needs to be a council that says... Hang on now.
Here's your input, but we're gonna discuss it first. Not like, Dame, who do you want? Jason Kidd, done.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that.
No.
Like, even LeBron shouldn't have that power. No player should have that power.
Yeah.
Considerations, we'll take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
That's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Denver. We'll talk about Denver a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about them.
We weren't the focal point because Dame was going off. And that's fine because everyone can't stop looking at Damian Lillard just torching us.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we're going to win that series. Our second best player's out. Mm-hmm. We're also missing another starter. We're in shambles a bit right now with our rotations. But we still won that series. We're going on to face Phoenix. Yeah.
Yep.
Going on to face Phoenix. And they're a good squad from top to bottom. So I'm a bit worried about that, especially with Chris Paul. He's going to cook Campazzo.
He's going to trip you guys up. Yeah.
We don't have anyone to contain Devin Booker.
No.
Ayton, good luck. Good luck, Ayton. You're not going to be doing too much with Jokic.
They really have the offensive threats that you guys don't have the defense to match up on.
Yeah. I feel like the only real spot we're going to absolutely shine will be Jokic, obviously. Ayton will not be able to contain him. And then MPJ. There's no one on that team who has the height and the speed to catch up with him.
Yeah.
He's not going to post anyone up. So like,
but then you've got to hope that MPJ doesn't have another 3-point game, and Jokic is going to be so exhausted.
He's going to be. This is the first time we haven't gone to a game 7 since 2009.
Wow. Almost, it was close too. It was
looking
like it was going to be game
7. But it's going to be a real tough matchup for us. We're a wounded animal, but we have the MVP of the league.
It's like, you're a wounded animal, but that animal is a fucking lion.
Yeah.
That's what Denver are.
So, we don't give up. We are fine with endurance matches. If you try and slog it out with us, we've been there before.
You're a very deceiving team in that regard. You see Jokic as this sluggish guy, but he'll play 110 minutes if he needs.
He'll play every minute of the game. Fuck you, he's Serbian.
Yeah, he don't give a shit.
He don't give a shit. There's a bottle of Fanta and gummy worms waiting for him in the locker room. So it's a really tough matchup for us, especially with Chris Paul and Devin Booker being as good as they are and working as well they are.
It's going to be rough.
We'll see.
Especially without Jamal Murray. Like, Jamal Murray against Chris Paul would have looked nice.
Yeah.
But Campazzo against Chris Paul doesn't look as nice. I'll be honest.
Chris Paul gets to his spots whenever he wants, and Campazzo has a lot of issues on man-to-man defense. Off-ball, he's an incredible pest, and he's amazing. Yeah. But man-to-man, he's not amazing.
It could be cool to see, like, because Campazzo and Chris Paul off-ball are assholes.
Yeah.
And you love to see it. It'd be cool seeing them two just jab at each other and shit.
They're going to talk. They're going to talk.
I'm here for that.
I like
I hope
pettiness.
you guys win, though. I hope you guys win.
Thank you. I don't think we will. Phoenix are a very good team, and we're down some pieces. But we'll see. Anything can happen.
Yep.
Anything can happen. That's all the series, right?
That's pretty much it.
We're
about to go watch some basketball.
I want to finish this up and go watch some basketball. Yep. If you've made it through this far, thank you very, very much. It's a favorite part of our week every week, especially when the playoffs are on. If you've watched us throughout the regular season, notice our energy was a bit lower, and now we're pumped up because basketball means something when the playoffs are on. Every game is important. So thank you very much. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. We are wherever you find your favorite podcast. Josh is leaving.
No, I'm going to get a sip of my drink.
I've almost finished my drink in the entire thing. You haven't had a single sip. We are on Instagram and Facebook at the Lowbot Podcast. Tell your friends about us. Get your friends to tell their friends. If you live in Adelaide, I'm going to be working. I'm going to be managing the 2IC at the store called Subtype, which will be opening up on next Saturday. Come down and see. If you're a fan, I'd love to say hello. I'm very friendly. So come say hi.
Despite the mustache.
Despite the pedophile
not
mustache.
Not creepy at all.
Not actually creepy. Come down and say hi. I'd love to meet any of the fans, especially if you live in Adelaide. It'd be great. Enjoy your week. Love you all. Bye.
Here's to some good basketball.